All right, I'll just trust you that I'll share your agenda paper.
All right, so it's 5 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order and start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right.
First thing on the agenda is the minutes. What's that? Did you look at the minutes or not? It should be. They were in the back there.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, sorry.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Double spelling errors.
Catch Monica.
Corsi and Courtney. It's actually your name.
My name? That's probably why I didn't even notice it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, extra now, extra L.
Oh, nice color lemons.
Go ahead and sign it. We'll just swap out page.
All right, next thing on the agenda is budget versus actual.
It's early in the year yet, but this is basically for the first 3.5 months. There are a couple of items I noted. Somebody asked me about what's up under executive for $11,000. It's pretty much anything that doesn't fit in any of the other categories. Most of it is for advertising for positions. Over and above that, there is.
You got any more? Of these?
That's all right. We're not used to having a lot of people here, so I'm glad that they're gone. That means we'll have some attendance. All right, so I'll share with you. How's that? Go ahead, Mike, thank you.
Okay, on page 4, under mechanic, you'll see that we are almost out of money for repairs, and I told Louis that as far as that goes, just assume that we'll allocate from other lines in the mechanic's position to cover repairs. That's on page 4. That's true on that and also on the tools. And beyond that, I want to draw your attention to the last page. Again, I think the second time I've shown this. We have the budget for what's been expended by ambulance and fire and water. Ambulance, water and sewer. And you'll see there's the yellow boxes is what's in the fund balance. That means what's the cash on hand? Those are separate accounts. There's a lot under water and sewer because it includes 150 some odd thousand from last year. Okay. So that means that currently in the bank, we have 259,000 we can use on the water project without borrowing anything additional. And we have in the next 2 months, we'll have another 204, so we'll be up around 464, 465. Fund balance of the ambulance is 84. It's up slightly from the beginning of the year, but the 82 at the beginning of the year actually reflects what we should have in the budget for the capital reserves for the ambulance. Capital reserves for the ambulance are part of the fund balance for the ambulance.
So how much of the 82 is for capital reserves? That whole 82 is the capital reserves?
80.
80 of it, okay.
It can also be used if we run short from the fund, but if we do, then we gotta make it up somehow sooner or later.
Gotcha.
On ambulance, you'll see revenue first of all, you get revenue budgeted for ambulance is 328. That includes 40,000 for the capital reserve. So far we have 244,000 in on revenue, which is 74%. That looks great. It's not really that great. We probably, we've got most of the town money in because it includes the town of Canaan money and Orange money, and Dorchester is not in there yet, but it's only 6 or 7,000. So where we anticipate new money over and above the 244 we already got in, fundraising should be at least another $14,000 to $20,000. Events should be another $14,000 to $20,000. And insurance should be another $43,000. So you could have as much as another $80,000, which would put us right on budget. So right now it's okay, but it really depends what happens on fundraising, insurance, and events. The good news is on insurance, that's the payments in on the ambulance service for just the first 3 months of the year. We haven't, 4 months of the year. We haven't closed out, obviously, May yet. So the way this works is it's what's posted on revenues through the end of April. So that's pretty good. Water and sewer, same type of thing. We budgeted 225 for revenue. So far, we only have 64,000 in. But it's about, it should be ending up about 3.5 times that amount. Because we only got the first quarter rent, all of the first quarter's fees, and only about half of the second quarter fees. So the long and short of it is we should be okay on the additional revenue for fees for the rest of the year. And septic, we usually will get 20,000 a year, and septic we don't get. We only have about 1,600 on septic, but it's really the season. So that's it on the budget versus actual, and I'll be happy to take any questions from anybody.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is
You have
the,
two unidentified
Oh, you do?
online people.
Oh.
Mary and Sammy. Hello. Mary and Sam, you please need to give your name on the chat or text me, or else you'll be removed from the meeting. Mary and Sam.
next thing is Moose Plate application.
That's deferred. She's going to be coming in when it's ready, but that's not for tonight.
All right, Historic District Commission.
We've got a request to appoint. It should be in the materials.
Yep.
And it's to William Van Sant as the alternate member. And I think that's it.
We need a motion to appoint.
I'll make a motion to appoint.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Use of Williams Field for sports cards.
Well, not everybody has got this email, but we received an email with somebody requesting the use of the Williamsfield parking lot area in front of the, basically in front of the concession stand, as long as it's not in conflict with anybody else, like Old Home Days or townwide yard sale. And what he'd like to do is to be able to sell basically baseball cards right after games or during games when there's softball games going on over there. And our policy is to let pretty much anybody do whatever they want as a commercial enterprise over there, provided that it doesn't need water
Or electricity, right?
or electricity.
Didn't we, for food service, require them to pay like a licensing?
Yeah, this is
Because
a
the
food service.
electricity and
No,
water.
just
Because of that, okay, yeah.
So I'm just asking if it's okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so
It's
you'll,
not a liability issue of any sort, right?
no, ordinarily we get a waiver. If he's gonna do that on a regular basis, we'll get a waiver. If we don't, if somebody's having a birthday party, but
Could we get a waiver if he's doing it even just this once? Because I'm sure he's
We-
gonna
we
want to.
could.
so,
I
Yeah,
mean, it really depends on the nature of the risk.
all right.
And Roger, if you can put in consensus of the board on that for.
You guys think we should have a waiver, or do you think he's all set to just go ahead?
I think if he's gonna be there for any length of time, he should have a waiver.
Length of time being more than once?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Corinne Morris had her hand up, but maybe not anymore.
Okay, well, while you're checking on that, Roger, if you would put in the minutes, consensus of the board to allow Sean Wright to sell baseball cards, provided he signs a waiver.
Okay,
Thank you. So anybody has a question?
No, she said with mistakes. She said.
All right, Canaan Lake Swim Program.
Okay, is Valerie on?
I have not seen her.
Can we defer that for a little while?
Okay. CDL options.
Okay, so we have at least two CDL. Is Louis here?
Yeah.
You want to talk to this or? This
I
is,
know we got at least one CDL.
well, I've got one down in Concord.
Oh, okay,
So why don't you take the one over in Enfield first and I'll
Okay.
take the one in Concord.
I'm working with Enfield, I'm seeing about, they're gonna have a training instructor in-house.
Okay.
We're working on trying to see if we can get our drivers trained through them. And the only stipulation is we'll probably have to rent a truck and trailer.
To let him use it, you mean?
That we'll do is they'll set it up. They'll come and give them the test right there at Enfield Highway Department.
Okay.
So we won't have to travel. We can have one truck and everybody can take their license on it.
And were they thinking, Louis, that because they're gonna work on providing the instructor in their facility, that our skin in the game would be renting the equipment?
That was the plans.
Okay,
And now how long would that take? Day?
No, for the truck, I'm not sure. They're still working things out. So
Okay.
as soon as we get it figured out.
minimal class that I have heard of yet was 3 weeks.
Okay.
But that, of course, is traveling to the facility and,
Yeah, yeah.
and may be different. If we can go right to Enfield, maybe that can be reduced a little bit, but I would plan on at least a couple weeks worth of rental. Yeah,
And the other option is if that doesn't work out, we also have an option down in Concord. And it's probably the cheapest one yet other than Enfield that we've heard of. And they're also willing to do it a variety of ways. There's a discount if it's more than one person taking it. It's the cheapest rate, if anybody has quoted a rate. And it can be sped up if there aren't many people taking the course, so that it's how many hours are available in the block. So they got more hours, they got run people through more often in order to speed it up. And that one, I think still here. Yeah, I think that the lowest number is like a week and a half. But it's basically a cram course at that point. They also will come up here if we want to do it that way. So I'm waiting to hear what happens in Enfield. Is the best deal.
what's the cost associated with the Concord program?
I don't have it with me. I think it's $2,000. I think it's like $2,000.
Give or take,
Yeah.
but it's not the
It can
8.
go down to 1,500 if it's got like 5 people or 4 people,
Okay,
but it's in that range.
okay. All right,
2K per person, I'm assuming.
I'm sorry.
2K per person, I'm
Yes,
assuming, yes.
that's correct.
All right, any questions on that?
1-ton truck repairs. Did you get any prices, Louis?
Yeah, you got them. I gave it to you in a separate package. We got several documents. We got a quote from Dyer, another quote. And on the last page, we got how much you've invested in the thing. I think that, as I understand the consensus of everybody I've spoken with, is that we're going to put the flat set on. Page 1 is the Dyer quote. Page 2, Davis Auto quote. Pages 3, 4, 5 are all what we've paid out so far for parts. So you can see that we're on the hook for about 3,200 in parts. And we may be able to sell those or have Shaker Valley sell them. And we have received at least 2138 from the insurance company on the truck. And I believe it's closer to $5,000 by the time you get the other 2 accidents in on it as well. So it's a total of 3 accidents on the truck. We got paid money all 3 times by premise.
Like you show a number of 32, or the shows a number of 32,15.98 for parts, but we're looking at it and it says $818.44, $163.80.
You may not be able to see it, I agree, but if you look at the yellow, which you don't see, because we probably didn't do it. Real numbers are $1,865, $951, and $199.95. That's on page 1. Page 2 is $234. Page 3 is $1,038 and $770.
So what are these numbers that are on?
I don't know. Is that correct, Louis, what I just said?
Yes,
What's the freight?
that's for a bumper.
Okay, pay this in.
It'll be, it'll
The last page sells out about $1,800, and next to the last page is another 200, so it's 2,000.
So it's 3,200 total in the parts.
just, yeah.
Yes,
And there's no chance we can return those? Or haven't been used, haven't been mounted?
Nope, because they've had them over 45 days. They wore it back in February.
Well, I bet in today's market, we could sell those for probably more than we paid for them.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. We could sell them.
Along with the bed that comes off the back of the truck, even though it's all stoved in, it doesn't have any rust on it, and somebody else could repair it. I'm sure we could sell that as well.
in which case you'd be in pretty good shape.
Absolutely.
So do you want to make a decision on the quote? Looks like Dyer's is far more reasonable.
Absolutely. It's more reasonable. He's in town.
Yeah.
And
So we need a motion.
he makes himself available all the time to take care of things if we need it. So
Yep.
I would put in a motion to accept the quote from John Dyer from Upper Valley Linex, Starts Welding.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye,
All right.
very good.
Thanks for doing that, Lou.
Yeah, thank you, Louis. Thank you, John.
What's that?
Yeah, John's in-house too, so probably got one in stock sitting over there, John? Ah, that's it. Okay, 2 weeks it is.
All right, so we guess we're going with Davis.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice. Have a good night. Oh, thank you, John.
All right, next thing is water and sewer truck.
Okay, so is it still available?
Yeah, still available,
Just to recap, you can see that it was a utility truck, it's an older truck. John went down and looked at it, didn't take any pictures, did we send anything?
Yeah, get some more, just send them over.
I have it.
So the long and short of it is, we don't have any pictures of John saw it. And John would like to buy it, and that, we've already talked about where the money's coming from. It's coming out of the water and sewer budget for the money's not spent so far.
I am as well. Was asked a question, Stephen.
That's fine. I'm
Right,
trying to listen to Mike and trying to listen to you and like,
I was talking. I hear you, but
And so,
no,
No,
you
go
don't
ahead.
have to shut up. Go ahead.
okay. So anyway, the recommendation is to buy the truck, the funds come out of what hasn't been spent year to date on the halftime position, and then the benefits for the halftime position. So it's not coming out of the operations. fund. John, see if you have any questions about it.
So I have concerns about the truck. The reason I have concerns about the truck is I've owned about 15 of them. Anybody who knows me knows my yard's full of them right now. When they get 100,000 miles on those things, there's a reason people get rid of them. The brakes are junk. The exhaust manifolds are junk. The exhaust manifold studs need to be replaced. I mean, and then it's just a nonstop round and round we go. Gas is going through the roof right now. It's more expensive than probably any of us have ever seen. And it's almost $17,000. I'm not sure we need a full-size 3/4 ton truck for that position. If we do, then please enlighten me. The truck travels back and forth with John because he's an on-call employee and has to be for emergency use, which I understand that, and I agree with it. All of our on-call emergency use employees do have a company vehicle, from what I've gathered. My thoughts would be, if we're getting ready to spend, even say $16,000, it's a little more than 16 grand, but if we're gonna spend 16,000, can we check into the option of maybe a all-wheel drive utility van, a smaller utility van that would have all of his racks and everything all in it, brand new, to lease? I believe we could pay 3 years worth of lease for $16,000 on a brand new vehicle. And then after that 3 years, we trade it in and spend another, otherwise we're gonna buy a $16,000 maintenance issue. And we're just gonna dump continuous money into this thing. But for that same money, I don't know for positive. But I mean, I know as much as everybody else in the room about vehicles. You can lease one of those rigs for pretty much 3 full years off what we would pay for the initial purchase. And then that vehicle is covered. If it breaks, they fix it. It's under warranty. And he's got a nice brand new vehicle to ride around town in. Inside is all his equipment, his shelving, the whole 9 yards. Ladder racks on the top. That's my suggestion.
John, do you know how much mileage you do a year?
I've had this one 7 years, I think say about 20 something, 26, 25, 26,
Per year?
yeah, per year. Yeah.
All right, so that's not
That's
outrageous,
yeah.
right?
It's-
I mean, yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and I like the idea of leasing, but I've come with leases here before and we've got shut down.
I know.
That's the reason I didn't bring it. I apologize.
No, John,
And
no
look at that
worries.
option. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Well, if you're gonna bring a lease, I'd like to know what the numbers are.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I didn't check into it. I don't know if I should be the one to check into it. John can check.
Yeah, I
into
can
it.
check it.
Right.
I just didn't bring, I've never brought a lease before. Because it was, the lease just,
The idea of
you got kicked back.
debt
I
wasn't
mean,
always.
yeah.
So we're getting debt if we purchase that. Because even
No,
if,
I get
even
that,
if we
but-
get a year out of that, which isn't gonna happen. The rocker panels and cab corners are ready to fall out of that truck, I guarantee it. I don't even have to go look at it. I've got 2 of them dead on my property and 3 of them that I still sink money into every year. I know these vehicles. That truck's worn out. And it's gonna be a maintenance issue.
All right, so look into that for us.
Yeah, that's how I'll
See what you find.
I appreciate you guys at least being willing to look into it. I don't think it, it can't
I'm
hurt
gonna have to
look
take your
into it.
word for it. I mean, I've had problems with Fords in the past.
You've seen how many I've
So,
owned, Scott.
yeah, so I mean,
I got one now, it's got 34,000 miles on it, and I
Problems
put
we've
3
had.
manifolds on it and studs in the driver's side. I mean, brakes, I just did all 4 brakes on it, so I got 34,000 miles, same exact truck as that.
Okay.
Why I own so many of them, I guess I'm asking myself now, because they're cheap, that's why. So
Go back to-
Trucks aren't cheap.
trucks aren't, not now.
Go back to swing.
is you on now?
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
I appreciate you hearing me out.
About 25,000 a year. I'm here 7 days a week. That's.
So just out of curiosity, I'm not a lease guru.
I've never leased a vehicle in my life.
Somebody is gonna lease for 25.
I don't know, Travis. I've never leased a
That's
vehicle.
why we gotta look into it.
Yeah, that's the thing, they have an overcharge of 25 cents a mile.
Yeah.
But they also may have a municipal program that might allow
You know,
for more mileage, right? There may be something. I don't know, but I think it's at least worth looking into before we spend 17 grand of our money.
Yeah, like Malcolm's commercial.
That's where our truck's coming from.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Travis.
All right.
Valerie's on the screen.
Hi,
Back to the swim program.
If you turn around, you can see us.
I think, hi, can I say something? Hello?
We can hear you, Valerie.
Hi, just want to say hi. I can't see any of you. I'm not quite sure how this is working. I can just see myself. Can you help me with that?
No, we can see you fine.
It's just dog.
In your settings, you'll have to go down near the bottom and or up near the top, either where it says view and choose your.
Okay. Oh, sorry about this. I'm
That's okay.
just done Zoom just a couple times. I'm still learning how to do it.
So
Myself
we
as
have
well.
been 2 years. That doesn't look like that.
That's not Valerie.
Yeah, that's Roger. Roger, did you say
Roger, for
something?
Valerie today.
Put it back on hold.
No, Roger.
What, she's off again?
Yes, here she comes again. People that have names yet, so I have to deal with that.
But on the other side, the gas money will save a lot by not driving that. It's insane. I'd be curious to see what he comes up with. Yeah, I would too. But you know, that's what I thought that was super. I did the math and the payment.
Hi, this,
I was spending on gas in my truck.
You're coming back.
It's a no brainer.
Here you
Yeah, for $50, I got 5.
hi,
Hi.
Hello.
Can you see?
hi, everyone. How are you? I can see the screen now. Yeah. Hi, I'm new to doing this. I was invited by Mike. I wanted to come and talk to you about my swimming program and see if we might be able to work something out. And I'm not, so hi, I'm Valerie, but I'm not quite sure how the protocol is. What happens now?
Valerie with an explanation to the board while we're here. And then let you fill in anything you want to fill in about the program and allow them to ask questions. So just give me 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
The reason we're offering is because we've had a swim program up until COVID hit. And it has never paid for itself. We've always supported it with donations and whatever, and earnings out of the after-school program in order to cover the cost. This would be a way for us to provide, we don't have a recreation director, but it would be a way to make sure that there's a swim instruction program at the beach. It would be paid for by parents unless there was a scholarship. Somebody would have to prove that they are in need, and I'm not sure how we're going to do that. In the past, it was always the recreation director that did it. I guess we would probably check them out either with needy hot lunches or with have Monica do it or somehow get it done. We typically will have 5 to 7 people a summer that need to have the scholarship. This program would be the rate set by Valerie. The rates would go to Valerie. If there were kids that were needy, she is offering it the reduced rate to the kids to us. So what we would do is to provide some support out of the after-school revenues. We currently have $21,000 to pay. Half of which we have
Let me cut that. Yeah, I think it's probably Valerie.
I think it's true.
What? It's me? What's happening?
The wind is blowing on your microphone.
The wind? Oh, okay. Let me put my window up. Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
So, but none of this, the crux of this thing is it would offer a swim program. It would be up to her, to Valerie and the parents to decide whether they want to do it or not. Has a variety of lessons from group to semi-private to private. There is a provision in here for a reduced rate if a kid qualifies as being a needy kid. In other words, mother's a single parent or father's a single parent. They have very little money, but they want to get a swim class. It would require that the parents put in some money, so it isn't going to be a free program. But it would bring the rate down to about what it was 3 years ago. And the tuition in this place for the scholarship will come out of the after-school program net revenue. That's a proposal. We don't really have any other way to offer a swim program this year other than doing something like this.
Jason's asking, is she lifeguard certified?
She has been, I don't know that she currently is or not, but you can see, you don't see it your end, I'll just read it. She was a YMCA instructor, starting in 1988, waterfront director for a camp in Burlington, 98 to 2003, swim instructor, lifeguard in Burlington. Essex, Vermont, swim instructor, lifeguard 1999 to 2001. St. Albans pretty much ever since then as a Red Cross program levels 1 through 6 Red Cross program.
Is there any separate?
We would do a waiver of liability, which I already talked about.
Okay.
We would be insured under our general policy as well.
How many kids do we typically get pre-COVID were we getting for swim lessons?
Oh, do you remember, Valerie, what number I gave you? We looked it up to see what the last year was. I think it was something like 15 or 20.
Sounds right.
You were getting for what? I didn't hear what the question was.
Total number of kids that we had in the program before COVID. Did I give you that number?
I don't know if you gave it to me. I think I gave you my number, but I don't think I gave you your number.
I think it was 15.
We used to have sponsors in the town that sponsored some of the kids.
Yeah, and it was only 2 or 3 that really got supported.
Jason Hurley would say, like to say, just to cover the town, it may be a good idea if she were lifeguard certified.
So can I just speak to that? Am I allowed to chime in, or do I need to wait till you are all complete? I don't want to, I want to respect the policies.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, it's great to meet everybody. I do want to say up front, I was lifeguard certified for about 15 years from the Red Cross, and WSI certified for about 18 years. And I ran my own swimming program under my certification. There was a glitch in the, I had a baby very late in life. I'm actually 55. I have a 4-year-old, and I let my certification lapse, and I did not renew it. I have all the training and all the, but I did not renew it. I do have to say that up front. I may renew it, in a year or two. I wouldn't be able to do it for this season, but I can pretty much guarantee I can get it done by next season. I do have a contact to do it. But no, I'm not currently certified, but I am lifeguard trained and swim instructor trained. I do understand if that is a concern. I do. But I have enough experience behind me and enough classes behind me to verify being a certified teacher, because I am swim instructor trained, and I also could carry my own insurance. I've had Trump sport instructor insurance for years. I would just have to pick that up again. But but it answers your question. No, I am not certified right now.
Jason, I'm reading a paper here that you don't have in front of you, and from 1988 to 1991, she was a certified lifeguard. From 98 to 2003, she was a lifeguard, and then this is her resume. And then from 99 to 2001, it states that she was a lifeguard. So, is there any way, do you have your old certification, so we could just have on file that you were certified at one point? And
yeah, I'm in the process of getting all that paperwork in, making some phone calls right now. So I don't think that'll be an issue to be able to get that past certification for you at all.
Jason said, sounds good, it's just a thought.
yeah, no, it's a good thought.
Okay.
So would it just be just be you running the class?
So, yeah, I have, oops, sorry. I've been, I run my own business up in the St. Albans, Vermont area. It was just me and only me. I ran all the classes. I would run at the most, on average, about 15 classes each week.
What size
And
classes?
I'm sorry,
What size were the classes? How many kids?
the most kids I have in a class is 6.
Okay.
I feel, yeah, I feel like that's enough to give kids individual attention. Once it goes 7 or higher, the kids get lost in the crowd, and I just don't feel it's a good idea. So I run 6 or less.
Got it.
Yeah.
And Corinne,
And I, what?
great resource for kids in town.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm reading out what other people are chatting and
Okay.
Corinne Moore says, I think it's a great resource for kids in town.
She's a contract with the town, because they have their own insurance. but other than that, I think it's a good program. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the board supports this.
The only question I would have is, I would be on board with you providing us a liability policy. If you can provide the liability policy for your own insurance, I think it's a great program, and I think that we need it. So
Oh, that's great. I thought I was gonna have to sell it, sell it to you a little more. I'm glad that you're already on board with it. I'm really excited. One of the things I wanted, can I speak to this?
Yeah.
One of the things I'd like to do that's important to me, because I have run my own, also the swim instructor, the teacher, but also, run the business and manage it. It's really important to me that, I'm the go-to person and the contact person, and that I wanted to offer the town the program, but that it's, Mike and I talked about this, that I'm coming in as an independent contractor. I'm not working for you, I'm working for myself. But, and also, because I have extensive experience with families and parent communication, and am happy to, and I know that's on my resume, to provide a reduced rate for the families. I think it went to $20 for the family for 6 lessons, a $20 rate for them, and then it went 25 to 30 respectively. So I'm hoping I'm being fair to offer that for them. What was I going to say? I think I just lost my train of thought. A little nervous. Sorry. Okay, I think that's it.
I think you're agreeing to approve Valerie working at the beach as a contractor, subject to a liability policy.
Yeah.
approved With us as a main
insured,
loss payee.
additional insured.
Background check, which we didn't talk about, but it's a requirement of the town.
Yeah.
Some evidence of past certification and waiver of liability challenge.
Okay.
And we'll support, the other piece of it is we'll support the whatever it's called, scholarship program, provided that there's sufficient funds and it's in line with what we've done.
But don't forget, in the past, we sent letters out to organizations in the community to help assist with that. Yeah.
I have a question on
Yeah.
that. We have the equipment there that we have in the previous program. Did she use it? That's my question to you guys.
Yeah, there's a rescue board, and that's a primary thing that should be up there. I don't know
And
if
then
it's-
they have all the things that the lifeguards used before previously. I mean, it's the ladies' side is just filled with it.
Okay,
Yeah, just to give you. an
so you
idea.
might want to check out you may not want it either, but if you want to look at it, Valerie, help you, just let us know.
Oh, that'd be great. I would take any equipment you have, and I'm happy to provide my own equipment, my own noodles, and all of that too, noodles and kickboards. And also I wanted to say, in terms of, can I speak to something in terms of finance?
Yes.
This is my first, still new. I think it's my 3rd Zoom meeting I've ever been on. There isn't a call, one mistake. I had talked to Mike about possibly renting the pool, renting the lake, and then providing to use it. And then he had mentioned to me to offset that with cutting the rate for low-income families. So I think coming in I think the only cost to you would be underwriting part of the low-income family cost, and that would be it.
Yeah, it's.
And that's pretty clear.
Been envisioned on some program, whether it's the lifeguard or the instruction program. That was never envisioned to be a profit maker because it never has. We do have a vision that there should be money making on concessions. But the purpose behind this discussion, as far as I was concerned, was to reinstate a service we lost 2 years ago, do it with no risk to the town, and do it in conformance with what we've done in the past, which is to make sure that if there's a poor kid out there that can't afford it, that we make sure it's available.
Okay. Is what I'm offering on that piece of paper sounding fair to everybody? Because I wanted to make sure everyone was accommodated and got involved. I was willing to work with any situation financially with you. Is that something we talk about now, or is that something I talk about to Mike at another time?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's something we've already agreed upon, Valerie. Yep, no
Okay, sorry, I missed that. Okay,
worries.
well, great, thank you. I'm really excited.
You're
I'm
welcome.
really excited. Can I ask, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can I ask, I know from just my experience, I would need to start getting it on the table as soon as possible, or maybe help with some advertising to connect with families or have them contact me, because now is the time to schedule for a June or the end of June start date. Is that something
I'm gonna put it on the flash email, so as soon as you put together something we can do, our next flash email goes out Friday. So get
perfect?
this and we'll put it in.
Right. Oh, great. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I hope to meet all of you at some point. I can't really see you. That's fine. Thank you.
Go to the beach for classes.
Yeah.
You can help him put out the buoys.
Um,
Love it.
What's the cost of the parents?
It'll all be
ALI
posted.
income fam? I don't know what that means.
Think that'll all be posted once we get all of her information and it's all, the package has been put together.
Look at
We-
Friday.
There is, oh, go ahead. There is a, on one of the forms I gave you, I have the 3 rates for my classes. Is that what you're asking? Is how much they are?
No, someone was asking us that and we decided that that information will go out Friday when we have the whole package.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Yep.
All right, you wanna do mine too?
Go ahead.
All right, I need Sticks iPhone and Dalla. You need to put your name either in the chat or text me, or else you'll be removed from the meeting. And then back to the truck issue. Can we go back to that? You have 2 comments.
Sure.
All right, one is from Sierra Bishop. I agree with Dan on getting a newer vehicle. This is something that's going to be an ongoing issue for the town, especially not having a town mechanic. Also, the point of getting something better than on fuel due to the constant increase in fuel costs. And then more of a, one was from Ellie. Just wanted to let anyone who does not know that there was $20,000 recommended to be spent towards the pickup in water and sewer that John Coffey drives. There is a note that this is funded by user fees, page 181.
Okay. All right,
That's it.
we good?
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is the coin policy, which the lawyer said that it's legal, but I'm still not in favor of doing it.
Nor am I.
What makes overall.
No.
Okay.
All right. List of junkyards and subdivisions.
I'm gonna do that in executive.
Okay.
Some discussion we really do
All right
want.
then, so we're on to other business.
That
Assuming
me?
You have something?
I do.
Okay.
And not the most comfortable thing in the world for me. But I feel like I've been put in a spot. So I'll tell you, I didn't sign up to be a board member for this reason. But here we go. So over a year ago, when I ran for board, lots of people asked me, what is your agenda? What can we expect from you, Dan? What are you running on? Right? And I told them, like, I'm not running on Democrat, Republican. I mean, what are you talking about? And they said, so what is your agenda? I said, well, and I said it at the candidates night. I said, two things that I can guarantee you will see from me is transparency and accountability. It's how I work my life. It's how I run my household. And so I've been put in a spot where my integrity is on the line. And I've been dealing with it and thinking on it and working through this for months, not days, not weeks, since February. And I've come to the board. And in my opinion, we've kicked a can down the road. And in my opinion, we're planning on kicking the can down the road until it's too late for me to speak up and say anything. It's my opinion. And I would, by the way, like to let everyone know that I speak on behalf of myself, not on behalf of the board. And I say that specifically for Stephen's purpose. He wanted me to let everyone know that they don't know exactly what I'm going to say tonight, but they do know exactly what I'm talking about. And so in February, I was approached by the outgoing board member, the administrator, an elected official, and a deputy official. And they asked me if I would take part in altering next year's election with them. And my answer was then no, and it is still no, except the difference is it's been months. And we haven't even had but only one serious conversation about it. And it's not because I haven't asked them repeatedly. I have asked them over and over again to sit down and come up with a resolve on this with me. So I was approached with the concern that we may not elect a qualified town clerk next spring. Our town clerk is set to retire. So I will tell you, I share that same concern. They explained to me how important the town clerk position is. And I learned more about that position than I even realized. It is an incredibly important position. That doesn't mean that we should be altering elections to suit our needs or wants.
You can go on.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna give you just a heads up.
Go ahead.
This is personnel, and it's also was discussed in executive session. So,
So how is it personnel? We're not hiring or firing.
no, that's correct, but.
So how is it personnel, Scott?
Because you're mentioning positions, so you've now revealed who you're talking about.
Oh,
So I'm just giving you, just telling you,
okay.
be careful. Okay?
So I'm still going to say it.
That's fine. I'm just.
I appreciate it, Scott,
Okay.
and I would appreciate more heads up if, I mean, look, I have told you that I trust your judgment on this,
I don't.
right?
And like I said, I'm just giving you a heads up.
Right, okay.
Just be
So,
careful.
I'm gonna take my time, put some thought into this. I'll be careful. I have the floor, Mr. Sampson. Thank you. So I was approached with the fact that I was asked to go along with, okay, that person not retiring, instead they would run for election again and they would run uncontested because they always run uncontested. And they would win the election, and then a couple months later, they would then relinquish themselves from that position, and then we could appoint someone to that position, and then to carry that through onto the warrant article for the following election to keep that an appointed position. I'm not okay with that. And not only is it illegal, it's unethical. I spoke to the New Hampshire Municipal Association. I spoke to the Attorney General. And in my opinion, for myself, worse than those things, it changes who I am. And in my opinion, they're expecting me to carry their dishonesty around with me forever. And every time I see one of you at the pizza place and you say, Dan, how's it going? Thanks for being a board member. I'm supposed to say, oh yeah, I'm doing the best I can for you. Got your best interest in mind. Knowing all the well that when you come down and vote, that vote is going to be changed. I'm not okay with it. I swore an oath on the New Hampshire Constitution to uphold integrity in this office to the best that I know how. Never claim to be perfect. I'm not perfect, far from it. Don't want to be perfect. You guys can have all that yourselves. Too much headache with it. But one thing I am is honest. Probably to a fault. Maybe too honest to be a politician, right? Because I didn't really think of the fact that I was being a politician when I signed on to Canaan Select Board. I thought I was trying to help out the people that I grew up with and people that are moving here to raise their family. But I guess it's pretty political, right? When I went to the current board, I spoke with Scott. Scott suggested we wait until after the election. We can approach this with the new board. When I approached the new board, it was suggested, well, after a few times it was, and that one serious discussion we had, it was suggested, well, why don't we just say no? And they won't be able to do it. And then we can just move on. So I sat on it. I thought about it. I told them that I wasn't keen on it, but I would put some thought into it. But then over the next couple months, I'm watching this whole scenario unfold in front of me. And man, I just feel like I'm a taxpaying resident of Canaan more than I'm a select board member. I raised my family here. I was born here. And I'm not okay with what's going on. People ask me, what are you finding out, Dan? What are you seeing? What's going on? I'm gonna tell you what I'm finding out. You can believe me or you cannot believe me. You think I'm stirring the pot or you can think I'm giving you information that you need to know. Either way, I'm gonna walk out of here with a load off my shoulders and out of my chest. Because I don't need it and I'm not carrying it around with me anymore. So a few scenarios started happening here at the last meeting. Samson was so angry at me, and I won't discuss why, to the point of swearing at me, throwing notebooks around, teared up in his eyes, telling me that his only regret is that he's helped the town of Canaan for the last 12 years. And then he looked right at me and he pointed straight at my face and he said, I'm running for select board. Red flag. Everybody's wondering, why did Mike resign? Why is he resigning in December? This is a man who loves this job, has taken on tremendous responsibilities in this town, to the point where he can't fulfill them all, in my opinion. So why is he resigning early? Nobody knew. Well, now we know he's going to sign up for select board in January. Some of you may think he'd be a great select board member. That's fine. I'm not trying to talk anyone out of what they think. I'm letting you know what I'm finding out. I can say that was a red flag. Did that happen after I left? Sure did. A lot of things happened after you guys left. But the thing that I will tell you that I want everybody to know is while all that was happening, I was helping Mike pick up the paperwork. I was picking up the arms on the chairs, pushing them back under the tables. I helped him carry everything to his car. I saw him to his car and I said, have a good night, Mike. I'm not arguing with you. I said that while the board members were still here, and I continued that afterwards. I don't need to argue. I realized that a few months ago. I'm not in a position of arguing. I'm in a position to be a voice. That's what I'm going to do. This is a tough one. So 2 days after that meeting, I start to watch all this stuff unfold. I'm like, okay, now I understand. Because he actually said to me several times throughout the last year, I should run for board. And joking around, I said to him, go ahead, Mike. Why wouldn't you? Then all of a sudden, okay. So 2 days after that meeting, so here's some more of this scenario that kind of just puts these flags up, and I can see this whole scene unfolding in front of me. We're at a budget committee meeting to appoint the new budget committee member, because Stephen was on the budget committee and he's now a board member and he can't be on the budget committee anymore. So we sit in a room with 20-some people, and the previous board member was there. There were people in this room that were there. And he stated during the meeting that he was surprised that anyone else showed up for the position, that usually it's an uncontested position, and he expected it would have been just that. He also stated that he had spoke with Stephen. Now, mind you, I did not say that Stephen and him spoke. I don't know Stephen's position. He stated to me that he spoke with Stephen before Stephen became a board member. And he agreed that if Stephen became a board member, that he would come and run for the committee seat because he would run uncontested and he would get the spot. Again, a red flag, because it's the same phrasing and the same wording that they approached me with. So I'm adding these things up. And not only did he get appointed the seat, but he was appointed the chairman position because our chair stepped down. So I was the only person in the room that stood up and said, nay. Because I'm the only person in the room that knew that. All of this stuff. And I'll tell you the words that are playing in my head right now that are not on my cue cards that I'm going to say are the words that that very person would tell me several times over the year that I sat on the board with him. Is what I say to a lot of people, Dan, when they ask me why I made a decision I made. I tell them, wouldn't you agree that I might be privy to information that you're not? So my decision might be based off something other than yours.
I believe we told you that, too.
That's what I'm saying. No, yes, exactly. So I'm using that same thing to say to you. So not only, now he's the chairman of the budget committee. So I got to be honest with you. I personally am not comfortable with someone who asked me to take part in that sort of a scenario, sitting as the chairman of our budget. That's just my opinion. I'm giving you information. You guys do with it what you want. I'm giving you back the ability to advocate for yourself because it was being pulled out from under you. I will tell you, it was concerning to me, and it is concerning to me, how both the candidates who, hang on, it's concerning to me how I am the only board member that reached out to both of the candidates that were running for selectmen. I reached out to Stephen Freeze to ask if we could get together and talk. I'd like to know his wants and needs. We did speak. I reached out to candidate Bishop, the same thing. We did get together. I'm the only one that did that. I don't, and again, at the fault of who is for you to decide. But, you know, when I signed up to run for board, I was invited into Mike's office, but it was for a whole different reason than Stephen was invited in. I was invited in, and some of you have heard this, but there are some of you that don't know this, because I haven't made a huge scene out of this all over town, because I wanted to get elected on my own merit. But I was told I need to find other things to do. I'm not qualified for the position. If I run for select board, they're gonna find people to recruit to run against me, and I won't be a board member in this town. And I explained to them, they obviously don't know me as well as I think they do, because all that did is make me dig my heels in, and I will be a board member in this town. And then he looked right past me at the outgoing board member, and he said, okay, in that case, then you will run for board. You'll just resign and we'll appoint someone. It happened. It happened. I just didn't whine about it. I ran for board hard. And here I am now, a year later. And they come to me and ask me to do the same thing that they were trying to keep me out of office with. How comfortable are these people? What's going on behind closed doors? So then I asked myself, who provided the information that Tony Bishop was blasted with at candidate night? Information that was incorrect, I might add. And I know that because I checked it myself. Now I'm finding a lot of things out here, and I'm learning a lot more than people understand. And I also know that anyone in this room and that lives in this town who's a registered voter can go into that office and ask to see the checklist. The difference is you have to be supervised to see the checklist. So I asked the town clerk if anyone had been in and asked her to see the checklist. She said, no, nobody's asked me to see that information. So where did it come from? You tell me and we'll both know. But I personally checked the facts myself, and they were incorrect. So anybody who knows me should know I'm not going to go along with this. It's not happening. It's not why I ran for board. Sitting here having to do this certainly is not why I ran for board. I wanted to try to see how we could whittle down some tax debt by getting along with the school and see if is there something we could do. I reached out to the senator that sat here, and I've asked her if there are programs that we could work with to reduce the principal on the school debt. I've talked to people about the trestle repair. I've been involved in the water project. I've advocated for community buildings. I've got the library pillars fixed. I initiated inspections and repairs on the log cabin. I've found serious discrepancies with the transfer station that still aren't fixed. I've uncovered a huge hazardous waste issue that has been cleaned up, by the way. Thank you, John. That's why I signed on to be a board member. Not this. I'm not going to spend my life in this community looking at everybody, smiling at them, knowing I cheated you. I'll leave, not the community, this table. I don't want to leave the table. I think I have a reason that I'm here. Right? I'm going to tell you something that keeps coming through my head. I am not going to sacrifice my integrity for their dishonesty. I will not do it. If I don't speak out, who will? When was the last time there was a board member that they didn't, that was tried to be kept from running for election, who actually got elected and then had the voice, thick enough skin and broad enough shoulders to sit here in front of his entire community as a business owner, beside my constituents that I have to sit with because I'm not resigning. Nobody else is going to do it. It's not going to happen. There has been no one else, and I see no one else in the future. Because the scenario that's played out in front of me is if I don't speak up, Mike's going to run for board. Mike can run for board. I'm not telling anybody what they can and can't do, whatever. I'm bringing information to you. And if he runs for board without any of you knowing this, he will get elected because Mike is a qualified individual. Book smart wise. But he has some of the worst people skills I've ever seen. He has selective people skills that are incredible. I will say that. There are times where Mike and I have got along swimmingly in his office. He does great with people at the healthcare center. He does great with a lot of people in town. But you ask the folks that have to work around him on a daily basis, brutal. Brutal. No one else is going to say it, so I'm going to. They're taking away your right to advocate for yourself, and I'm giving it back to you. I don't know what more to do than that. You ask me, what am I finding out? That's what I'm finding out. What am I doing? All of the things that I just talked about and more. Not getting anywhere. The only real thing I've been able to accomplish is fixing the pillars on the library. Why aren't all these other things getting done? I don't know. I think it's because they have an agenda, personally. And again, I say this comes as no surprise to my constituents. They've known that this was coming. I asked and asked and asked a few weeks ago to get together, to be more proactive. We should be meeting more often. There's things I want to discuss. We have to have resolve on this. We're all busy. I said, I'll meet at 5 in the morning. I'll meet at 9 at night. They did come back.
We did try to make that happen.
Yes, they did come back. A week or so later, it was finally, well, we can meet Thursday. Well, that was a week and a half of nothingness. And if we're going to meet Thursday, we might as well just meet Tuesday anyway. So I needed a break at that point. I was a little hot-headed. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to come in here when I'm all wound up because you know, so.
It's part of the problem when all 3 board members are working.
That's what I just said. We're all busy.
Yeah, we're all
I get it.
So,
I get it. And we were just talking, like Stephen is traveling a lot. You just took on a boatload of accounts and I am literally drowning in a pressure washer for the next 6 weeks.
it's absolutely true.
But I'm a board member. And this is important stuff. I couldn't tell you how many applicants we have right now. Literally couldn't tell you because I don't know. But I do know that we've only interviewed one person, and that was almost a month ago. And we all sat here after he left and like, wow, he interviewed way better than his resume, and his resume was fairly impressive, and he's a qualified dude. I'm not even gonna tell you what position it was for or who it was. Well, that position, that guy just took a position with the city of Lebanon. He got back with me and let me know. So what are we doing? Wait, in case we haven't realized, everyone is hiring right now. Are we going to wait till all of our good applicants have found another job and then sift through the leftovers and hire them? My thoughts are, yes, that's what we like to do. Because I will tell you, Mike refers fondly to his crew that he's put together as his misfit toy children crew. And there are a lot of us in here that know that JR doesn't get paid anywhere near what he should be. Right? Barry Geddes doesn't get paid anywhere near what he should be. Those are just a couple people that I would advocate for. And I believe it's by design. I've watched this unfold over a year. If we have people that don't advocate for themselves, it's pretty easy to tell them how to run their department. And if we wait until all the good applicants are gone, that's who we're gonna get. And then if we resign early and we run for board and we become a board member, I resign from the board because I'm not staying. Why would I? Useless. Waste of time. So then what happens? He's got Stephen, who I believe wants to be a good board member. I believe he's qualified. I believe it. In the meetings that we've had since he's been on the board have been productive with the things we've discussed. I believe it. He's not a yes man. Right? I think we did all right. But here's the deal. He doesn't really know any more what he's doing than I do. Less, as a matter of fact. And then if we appoint another person that knows even less than him, we got one person running the show. And it's the same person that's been running it for 12 years. And I know I got off my couch and ran for board because I was ready for a change. And I got voted in because those people knew I was ready for a change. I didn't say to them, I want to conform and go along with the exact same thing we've been doing. Please vote for me. The opposite. If I don't advocate for us, who will? That's all I got.
Well, I will tell you one thing. I have given 15 years of my life to this position. And
Absolutely.
I have advocated for this town the whole time. Some of the stuff you have discovered was stuff that maybe I didn't notice or I didn't see or didn't look into. But I will tell you, I have been honest with this community and I have not betrayed them whatsoever. And a lot of the things that you did mention about cost and that sort of stuff was what we did to keep the taxes as low as they were.
I will say that when I was approached with this, do you mind if I say what your response was?
Go ahead.
I purposely didn't because this is about me, not you.
Go ahead.
Scott looked at me. He looked around. Can I use your phrase?
Go ahead.
He says, I forget exactly what your wording was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was, he said, wait a minute now. He said, are we fucking missing something here? That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out where the F word come in.
Yeah.
Are we fucking missing something here? And I looked at him and said, I don't know, man. He said, so haven't we been talking continuously for the last year about how this person's not qualified for the position? But now you're asking us to appoint her? He didn't know about it either.
No. Any questions?
Sure.
Sure. Assuming you want comments.
I'm done. Yep. I'll answer anything anybody wants to fire at me,
Okay.
good or bad.
Oh, slow down. Let me go with the ones that are there first. Okay. Ellie says, I don't remember the RSA number, but it does state that if there is a deputy town clerk, that the deputy becomes town clerk if and when the town clerk resigns. This rule also applies to the treasurer. The select board has no say in who becomes town clerk unless the deputy resigns.
Except she's not resigning, she's retiring. There's a difference. Thanks, Ellie.
Shante Norwalk says, that is a huge concern. A town clerk should be vetted and have the correct credentials for the town clerk. As a taxpayer, this is appalling.
I would like everyone to know that I do agree that we need to pay attention to who we get in here as a town clerk. It's not someone that you go in on voting day and say, oh, that's the only one. All right,
The next comment is also.
pay attention.
So the town clerk position is a voted in position.
Yes,
only. It's not an appointed position.
Correct.
That's New Hampshire state law, so.
Thank you, Dan Collins, for having integrity. The same thing happened at this past election for selectmen. Finally, someone is calling out the malfeasance going on within this corrupt town's politicians. Justin Montebank says, change needs to happen in everything to make it better. That's why certain people within the town are too comfortable. C.R. Bishop says, I have a question for Stephen Freeze. Where did they obtain the information about Tony's voting history and his employment with the town? Shante says, please do not leave.
Can we answer that question?
Do you want to hear all of them first, or do you want to answer them one by one?
I get, well, no, actually, it was
One
directed
by
to
one would be
Stephen,
better,
so
yeah.
yeah, we should,
So, Sierra Bishop asked if, where did you get their information?
So the voting information was brought to me by the executive of the Democrat Committee. And that's the only information that I brought up at the Meet the Candidate.
And actually, you're right.
Right.
Okay. Sierra Bishop says those like Dan Collins who have the town's best interests at heart versus others who are on a power trip and in under false pretenses should be on our board of selectmen. Carolyn Finney says she has to leave. Are these recordings shared with the public afterwards? Michael Farnsworth says old school regime is over. Welcome to 2022. Then there was Sierra says, I'm just out of context, but Stephen said he was retired and had way more time.
I never
And
said that.
then.
he said his concern was that he would have to make the time.
And then someone else said Stephen never said he was retired. That was Carolyn Fries. And then. Okay, and then Carolyn Finney again said hopes that it will be published. Okay, that's it on that stuff.
That was my big announcement. Thank you for everyone for showing up.
I got a question.
Where is it, Mom?
This is. I got
No,
it
I
down.
know, just,
All right, so if you don't have job applicants, right? You got applicants for these different positions, all right? So who's holding all these applicants? How come they're not being interviewed? I don't understand why you can have a stack of applicants if you do.
Well,
Why aren't these people being interviewed?
we will be discussing the mechanic position tonight in non-public.
Yeah,
So that's the first list we're gonna go through. And then Stephen had talked about a commission that we could put together to interview for the town administrator position. And as Dan was talking about, we tried to get a meeting prior to this and it just didn't work out. And then Mike had COVID last selectmen's meeting. and
Wow.
Steve was out of town, so it just didn't happen. So that's what is going, yes, you're correct.
Because my concern.
We don't want to drop the ball on
These
this,
people
but
are
it's
gonna be
dragged on longer than it should have.
We
Absolutely.
also put the positions out there for, and opened them up for a certain amount of time to have people. apply
Correct.
too.
So what do you got, like for a month or how long?
Yeah, was it a
did you-
month?
Yeah, so just the process that we use. Everything else, I don't want to deal with, but the process that was used was we took the first three, which was 2 police officers, town administrator and town mechanic. We advertised for a minimum of 3 weeks.
Okay,
Every single application that has come in from my position went through Gloria, so I never saw them. I don't control them, I have nothing to do with it. She sends them to the board. Everybody that came in the mechanics position, I forwarded to the board over the last 2 weeks. So they've had them for at least 2 weeks to look at it. Everybody in the police doesn't go to me, it goes to the police chief, because that's how it works under the
Right.
New Hampshire law. So he is the one that will make recommendations to the board for a hire. I can tell you the conversation I had with him today, I think it was.
Who's on?
Sam, okay to say you got 2 or 3 you're looking at, none of which are currently credentialed?
hope it's okay, you just said it.
Yeah, I just said. So anyway, so Sam is dealing with all of them, okay? And there's an issue that I want to talk about with the board and not public to see. if
so
we can
all
improve
the
it.
board members, they all sit down together and go over these applicants? or do
Yes.
they-
Yes,
The way that it works is it's their departments, they're weeding through them, presenting them to us. But Scott just agreed, so I mean, we're in agreement, it's dragging on too long, it's taking too long. Part of it is because we're all so crazy busy. But that means we need to find some time somewhere. I personally would advocate for the administrator's position, that the committee that is formed, and again, it's my opinion, but I think the committee should consist of the department heads and the select board. Now, I know it's been mentioned to me that, really Mike's position is dealing with the general public. But I think he deals with the department heads on a more business end of the aspect of the position, and he deals with them regularly. Mostly on a daily basis, a lot of them. And I think they could be good liaisons to the select board as to wants and needs and things that they'd like to disregard and get rid of. So that was what I would like to see. I mentioned that, I don't know, a little over a week ago. I gathered the department heads here and gave everybody an overview of the ARPA funding program that I took a workshop on. And I mentioned to the department heads at that time that was my thought process as well.
I just want to wrap up on the process that I was talking about. So the next tier was highway superintendent, highway workers. And it's got the same time frame. One can't. There needs to be some public process to go through that. And we need to have that. There has to be a public process that says what the jobs are. The exception to that is if you're promoting from within, you still need to post the job.
Yeah.
But then you can promote from within. But we have just posted those jobs a week and a half ago. So we will run it another week and a half, and then they'll be on for all the highway workers, 2 highway workers, and for the highway superintendent. So we need to do that public process. The last round, there's 3 rounds, is
Right.
for transfer station and water sewer. So it's a lot of positions, and frankly, we've had openings for roughly a third of all of our employees in the last 2 months. The time it takes to put together those packages and get it out for social media, get it out for newspaper, put it in flash emails, has been a lot. It's been easily 2 full weeks of time, doing nothing else, if you looked at it in terms of hours to get that out. So that's the process. It is not one that I regulate. It's one that is regulated by them. They made the decisions, who gets the resumes, they're gonna review the resumes. Has nothing to do with me. That's the process.
Yeah.
So,
And I understand the process. My point is, all the more reason we should be interviewing regularly, sifting through all of these applicants as they come. Instead, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna look at, if we got 19 applications for the mechanic's position, just say, and we get handed 7, and we're asked to make a short list out of 7, and we come up with 4.
just for clarity, you got 19. You can come up with any list you want. No list. No, there's no list at this point.
Understood. I was just,
Just for those of you that don't know, we just can't meet and discuss stuff.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, it has to be posted 24 hours ahead of time before the 3 of us get together to make a decision on anything. So it's not that easy, but, and as Dana's pointing out, I mean, this amount of applicants is unprecedented. We've never had to deal with so many positions
Right.
and so many applicants.
But
It's
the good
just,
news is we got people.
finally, but I mean, some of these positions have been available for 2 years and nobody's.
But we've got people that are applying, but the bad news is they're finding other jobs
Yeah.
while we are sitting on our hands.
So, well, like I said, we're gonna go in a non-public and then we're gonna talk about the mechanic position.
Yeah, Wesley, what's up?
Why all of a sudden do we got so many people applying for the job?
Because we took a different approach towards advertising.
Yeah.
It's
We went-
cost us some money,
Right.
but it's put it out into a broader market.
Well, I just think, only reason why I'm saying is I think it's a good.
It's a good thing, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's very good. We've also made some concessions as far as, moving and, signing
Right.
bonuses, things like that, are their options, Wesley. So I mean, we're
Yeah.
trying to do what we can to get people in, which is good. So.
Right, I just
Yeah.
think that it's great that you.
Yeah,
all of a
absolutely.
sudden saying
It's
you don't
working.
have any, and all of a sudden you got 19.
Right.
So we better start talking to them.
Yeah.
They're finding other jobs. They're gonna go work with you,
Yes.
bud.
I will tell you what, any ones that we don't hire in the town, I was looking into hiring for my own business because I can't get anybody.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. This is not easy.
Go ahead.
Cindy Demers writes, thank you very much, Dan, for being honest and caring and looking out for all Canaan people. Need more like you. You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh,
You're welcome.
hello.
I appreciate
Michael,
it.
Yeah.
Michael Reese wants to talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I was waving. I didn't know if anybody could see me. Just one last comment quickly. Tonight's meeting was somewhat disturbing in some respects and also enlightening and encouraging in others. But I will say, one takeaway for me is the following. This is a small town. Our select board, it has always been a very admirable group of volunteers to donate their thankless time, but they rely heavily on the town administrator who does 90% of the heavy lifting. Let us not forget that. And Mike Sampson works 8 days a week, 12 hours a day. And, agree or disagree, if he ever chose to be a select board member, to run for a select board, I would endorse him 100%, because I think his professional and educational expertise would benefit the Board of Select Board. The Board of Select Board, they rely on other people, generally speaking, to provide professional support, and we would have somebody right there on the board that would have that background, legal, municipal, etc. And for what it's worth, I would not discount his candidacy at this point, if he was to choose for that. And I have no other information about that. I think when Dan mentioned it, it was the first time I heard it. But just for what it's worth, I think we're losing a valuable resource when he steps down. And thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
My wife would be very happy to just.
I'd like to reply to that, please. Michael, I appreciate your words, and we don't know each other well, but we have got to know each other a little bit more over this last year.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely, as do I, Michael, really. And I think let me rephrase that. I want to make sure that that we don't miss something, and I'm not saying you did, Michael. I want to reiterate something, let's put it that way. I personally don't feel comfortable having someone sit on the Canaan Board of Selectmen or Select Board that approached me and asked to help rig an election. I don't feel comfortable with a person as a chairman of our budget committee that approached me and asked me to help him rig an election. So he may be qualified, but I don't think morally he is. I don't think he has the integrity that we're looking for as a board member. If he would try to keep me from being elected by doing that very thing, and then a year later approach me and ask me to do that very bidding with him against all of you, that is not someone I would like on the board. That's my 2 cents as a sitting board member who was elected and is an elected official representing the tax-paying residents of the town of Canaan.
There's a comment before Mike. Jason Hurley asked, did Mike Reese just move to town? If so, there's things that have happened that he has not been part of.
No.
Michael's lived here a bit. He lives on Goose Pond Road. He's a member of the budget committee. Are you still, or did you step down, Michael? You are, right?
I'm on the budget committee. I'm an alternate on the planning board, and I'm president of the Goose Pond Lake Association for 13 years.
Yeah, owns a
And
property.
I was not aware I have no awareness of some of the things allegations that you made. So we can chat about that.
Yeah, happy to answer anything you'd like. They're not allegations, it's fact.
Fair enough.
Just as a personal point, since a lot of this is directed to me. The only thing I would say is that there's always two sides to a story. There's two sides to the story. I'm not gonna get into it tonight.
No,
If and when, if I were to run for selectman, and I have toyed with the idea over the last year about doing it. I've also toyed with the idea of running for the House. So I've also toyed with the idea of just sitting on a deck and trying to not get involved at all with the town.
That's Mike.
And drinking about a fifth of good single malt scotch. So I don't know what's gonna happen. All I would say is that if I were to take on any of those endeavors, I'd be happy to have a dialogue about it. But I'm not gonna address anything tonight. I'm gonna say there's always two sides to the story.
Another comment is from Noreen Aliski. My opinion is it doesn't matter what your qualifications are if you don't have integrity.
My opinion as well.
Anybody else? All right, I'll need a motion to go into non-public.
Oh, wait, Michael Farnsworth is raising his hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Michael.
Can you hear me all?
Yep.
So my question being a business owner and probably in the same group that the board's on right now, being business owners and trying to find somebody to hire. So basically listening to what you said, the process, how many applicants, how many positions are open?
9 positions currently.
So currently in the pattern that you're working this,
Out
it's
of
gonna take,
24.
it's gonna take 9 months to hire 9 people.
No,
What-
not correct. So the first round is okay to?
Go ahead.
So the first round includes 2 police officers out of the 9. Town Administrator, that's 3 out of the 9. And who else was on?
Mechanic.
Mechanic is 4 out of the 9 was in the first round. The second round has 3. So that's 7 out of the 9 would be wrapped up within the next 3 weeks.
Potentially.
And then the last 2 are the ones that are in water and sewer and transfer station. And we've gone without water and sewer for most of my life, it seems. So they weren't as big an issue initially as police in particular. You know, we're down a third of the police department. We're down almost a third of the highway department.
Yeah.
So those were the big issues. And so the schedule is to wrap up everything except water and sewer within the next 3 weeks. We've already done the run for the town administrator. I have no idea who the candidates are, what they look like, or if we have anybody. But they go through the process and review it and do interviews, and if they want to do anything further, they can. There is enough time to do that, but it's up to the board. I don't really have anything to do with it at all. So all of that should be wrapped up within, what?
Go ahead. I thought you were done.
All of that should be wrapped up within the next 3 or 4 weeks.
So when you say wrapped up within the next few weeks, do you mean collecting interviews will be wrapped up, or do you mean collecting or applications? Or do you mean collecting applications, reviewing, sending them to us reviewing them, contacting the person, getting all of our schedules together to meet with all of these people, interviewing them, getting back together, making a decision, narrowing that field down and hiring all those positions should be wrapped up in the next few weeks?
I think in 3 weeks' time, you should have a list of, you should have the paperwork for every applicant, you should have a list of all the applicants.
Okay,
And then you're gonna have to figure out what you guys do after that.
then we
Because
start the
I don't
interview
control it.
process in
That's
3
correct.
weeks. So the collection of applications will be wrapped up in the next few weeks.
Correct.
The interview process isn't gonna start for another few weeks.
Yeah, that's still, yeah, so you still don't have an idea of how long it's gonna take.
I'm telling you. I'm sorry, Michael, go ahead.
I said, you have no idea how long it's gonna take. Only thing I'm saying is I've been trying for over a year to hire somebody for my company.
Called 10 people the other day, got 2 responses.
Yeah, I mean, literally, and if you have applicants that are available, I just don't, I don't know. I didn't understand the process other than one of the board or somebody, I came in a little late, somebody was saying the passing up the quality of somebody who was an applicant now that could have taken the position. I wouldn't be passing up on any of that, especially for our own town, same one I grew up in.
Michael, we hadn't even noticed that position yet. In other words, it hadn't appeared publicly or anyplace else.
Yeah, all I'm saying is I'd be jumping on it sooner than later. That's all I was saying. is that it's hard to imagine that you'd have that many applicants and not being able to get somebody that was qualified for the town. That's what I was asking, for a timeline. What it was going to take to hire these people.
You done? Are you done, Michael?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Question?
The only thing that I would ask out of all of it is, when you guys, you should probably hire whoever you're gonna hire for your road agent person. And then they should have a say on somewhat with you guys on who is hired over there.
Yeah, well, we do that usually with the highway
I'm
superintendent,
just,
yeah.
but I think you should.
Because any employee that's going into any department, we want the approval of usually the department head recommends. So,
Well, that's,
Yeah.
I
And
just
the-
wanna make sure you were.
And the one person that we interviewed for the road agent department, and he was a gentleman that just come off a 300 plus mile mile supervision. He was the supervisor of a 300 plus mile route in the state of Vermont. And he had 11 guys under him. I'm not saying that we needed to hire him. I'm saying that we needed to.
well, we provided them an interview before it had even been posted.
Right.
And we may have lost out. I agree, but.
Yeah, he did call several times.
Yeah.
And he called and let me know that, but anyway, so my point is, Wesley, I agree. Whoever that person is, that should be where we start with that department. So he can have some say
Right.
in who the employees are. I think that's a good call.
Jason Harley asked, and I think there's a word missing. It says, if Mike's not retiring till deal breaker, then why, and I think he means December, then why is town administrator at the beginning? But town administrator is not. at
Because the
beginning.
town administrative position, we're looking to get into the network here, so we can learn, whoever it is can learn part of the job.
I will tell you, in my opinion, I will tell you why. Because for some reason, Mike feels like he needs to train the new person for 6 months. I don't know of any position that gets trained for 6 months. And I don't know of anybody who is a professional who's going to accept a position like this, who's going to want to sit beside the outgoing administrator, telling him how to do his new job for 6 months.
So Dan, we've all had conversation about that.
I know,
Yeah,
but
and
this
we will
person that
again.
asked the question didn't
Right.
know,
But we will again.
right? But no, I'm
Yeah.
simply answering the question. That's why.
And so-
I think you'll have trouble getting somebody to do that.
I think so too.
I mean, that's a.
It's a tough job.
Somebody, them people got their own ways of doing things.
Exactly. Yes,
so
they do, don't
continuing
they?
with the comments, Carolyn wrote, Mike is retiring. I'm assuming she's saying that to Jason. Jamie Gleason says, I also find it important, along with integrity, that those serving the town of Canaan take the time to speak to community members like human beings and not dismissing them and treating our community members like they're inadequate to ask questions instead of educating them. And then Jason said, has that happened before? And if not, why are we now?
Is what happened before.
Um,
I'm lost. And he's not
The
retiring,
trade, well,
he's
I will tell you
resigning.
why, because in the past, we've either not renewed a contract or the person quit or they were fired. That's why.
I remember in the early discussions, it was part of it because there's so many things that only happen once a year.
Yeah.
And so we
But-
were mirroring the budget season with the new person.
The transition process, there's not been a transition process. It's been an immediate need.
Yes.
And I would answer, I think it was the second comment in, Mike is not retiring, he is resigning.
I thought I was retiring, but.
I thought you had told me you were resigning.
Whatever.
Either way,
Okay, so
I withdraw that
to
statement.
get started on this process, we still need to go into non-public session. So-
A question asked Mike, then I might have a question asked.
Yeah,
So you could ask us, Sharon. No, I just didn't know what you're talking about,
I'll
honestly.
tell you what she talked about. She said, if this is gonna be posted on, is this gonna be posted online? I
I have
practice.
people asking me that and direct
Right,
links. not in the
So,
public
and my
links.
answer was, they're all posted on.
Yeah,
So,
Well, they're not yet.
Well, yeah, all right. But
So
we-
have
we
any
put
of-
At least one,
And so
so we'll put.
here's where that goes. Is I don't know how to do that. There's somebody who's writing to me that says they know how to do that. Is it okay that I get help from somebody to do that?
I think all of the meetings should be posted
Yeah, what
online.
happened the last time you posted it online? Who did that?
We did,
I thought the last.
No, she sent me a link directly.
Oh,
they're
okay.
really large files, and so
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
you have to have something with YouTube, and
Well.
you have to you have to make it into a different kind of file.
Once you have a Zoom meeting and things are recorded, then it should be.
It should be
open.
public.
Yep.
And the rest of the free world is doing this, but Canaan can't figure out how to do it.
Well,
What?
as someone who's
Why
been,
not?
as someone who's been in Zoom meetings in other organizations.
Yeah, I don't do well with.
Not
the-
everybody's figuring it out, okay?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, you can go online right now and see the select board meetings from Groton.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
I make a motion to go into non-public.
if there are no more questions, is there anybody else online?
Yes, all meetings are being posted to YouTube would be amazing. Google Drive is free to use, and a link can be shared fairly easily from Julian. So it's one of
Just a
those things
comment,
where,
yeah.
you know, I
Yep.
agreed to do this. I never claimed to be an expert.
Not saying you did, Sharon. Yeah, I second the motion to go into non-public. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're gonna talk to Dale first.